Hey spooks and ghouls, Zach here, and I want to give a little disclaimer before we start this episode. When we recorded, it was a lot of fun, super spooky things were happening, but when we started playing the playback, things had happened with the audio, as you'll see in this episode, and there wasn't really much that we could do. I tried to frankenpatch as best as we could, so I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. This isn't something that normally happens. This was a weird issue that we were able to troubleshoot and fix. It's kind of one of the drawbacks of, recording remotely over the interwebs, with Meg being in Australia and me being in sunny California. We could have, re-recorded this episode, but you can't really get mad at the same book twice and still experience the same amount of what we did in this episode. We just want to make you guys know that this isn't this is what we're trying to strive for. We try to give you guys the best sounding, best spookiest and funniest episodes out there. So for all we know, it was J.R. Black that messed up this audio. So thanks guys, and I hope you guys have a fun time. Listeners beware, you're in for a scare. Howdy folks, I'm Zach, and welcome to Nightmare and Fear Streak. Today I'm here with my good friend
Meg.
Yay!
Hi, Zach.
Hey Zach, what's up? Yeah, it's good. It's good to be alive.
So, how was your spooky week?
It was good. I got to see the Dark Tower yesterday, and yeah, it was a movie. You know what the weird thing they did? They played it at 7:19.
What? That's a very odd time to play a movie.
Well, if you go to military time, it's 1919.
That is very true.
So they did that purposely. So I was like, why are they doing it at that time? Other than that, I went to Midsummer Scream, and that was a lot of spooky fun. The episode should be out by now. Other than that, I did watch the worst movie I think I've watched in a very long time and questioned my existence before reading this book.
Oh boy, what was the movie called?
The Skateboarder Kid.
What?
Yeah!
That sounds awful.
Okay, you want me to set up the premise?
Okay.
Don DeLuise
I'm on board.
is a talking skateboard.
What? No!
Not just a talking skateboard. So this kid gets a magic skateboard from a magic shop, and he decides to start putting robot stuff onto it. And it gets struck by lightning, and Skynet is born because Dom DeLuise voices a talking skateboard. My brain exploded.
This sounds like the most terrible film ever made. Speaking of terrible films, and this is where you ask me how my week was.
How was your week, Meg?
I went to go see a screening of The Room at the famous Hadean Orpheum Picture Palace in Neutral Bay, where they have been doing screens of The Room for 4 years straight, and last night they had a full house. So many spoons. I just got pelted with them.
Isn't it grand?
You know what, Zach?
What?
I was gonna say something from The Room, and I just...
Oh, hi, Mark.
I was gonna say,
true.
Just cut that out because I just realized that, nobody's gonna get the joke.
Yeah, then just go. So what? What's it gonna say?
I was just gonna be like, everybody betray me. I'm fed up with this world.
Can you do a Tommy Wiseau impression?
No, I can't, but I can do I could do Lisa's mom.
Oh, God. Yeah, I got... Is that your first time seeing The Room?
No, it's my second time.
I think I've seen The Room 3 times in theaters, and we used to... Okay, me and my friends have a mild obsession with that movie. So for finals in high school, we downloaded the movie and watched it while all the other kids were finishing up finals.
That's
amazing.
amazing.
And then we slowly started gathering people to watch this awful movie.
That's amazing. That's sort of like me and Neil Breen. And for people who don't know, Neil Breen is the David Lynch to Tommy Wiseau's Steven Spielberg. He makes these absolutely garbage, fake deep sci-fi movies where he always plays either a hacker or some kind of an alien.
You mean the parts where he has a bunch of computers?
Yes!
And he has to rub his own ego?
Yes! So anyway, let's talk a little bit about this book. Yeah, we're dancing around the subject because,
guys, it's weird when you physically yell at a book. And this week, I physically yelled at a book to tell it to stop being stupid.
Oh my God.
It is this book. So God, I can't believe these are coming out of my mouth, but this week we read Shadow Zone, The Undead Express by J.R. Black.
Now, okay, here's my theory. Here's my fan theory for the Shadow Zone. You know how in the Goosebumps movie they have that gag for like 10 seconds towards the end where R.L. Stine himself shows up and says to Jack Black as R.L. Stine, "Hello, Mr. Stine," and then Jack Black as R.L. Stine says, "Hello, Mr. Black." R.L. Stine is playing J.R. Black, author of The Shadow Zone. That's my personal theory.
Well, it makes sense seeing after he wrote these. Actually, it's not even a one person, it's a bunch of people. This is just a pen name I found out.
I'm devastated.
I can, like, totally see, like J.R. Black being a janitor, because after he made these, he probably lost money.
Yeah. The publisher's like, "Black, this is garbage."
To the Shadow Zone with you. Be gone.
Just made me think of Yu-Gi-Oh!
Oh my god, so...
You've been sent to the Shadow Realm!
It's time to not read this filth. Okay, so...
It's time to put
we read
this
the Shadow Zone this week.
down.
Okay, so this week we read the Shadow Zone, and yeah, I'm sorry, guys. I'm so sorry.
Now, let's talk about this cover for a second.
Okay, you know what I thought of this cover?
What?
There is actually... Yeah, so there is a movie in the 70s called Dracula versus Frankenstein, and the vampire, swear to God, looks like Frank Zappa.
Yes.
And that's what I thought of with this, because it was an awful movie, and this is an awful looking cover.
It is. Okay, so the kid, Zack, his face is pretty normal, but the vampire's eyes are, like, tilted weirdly, and he just looks... He looks like a really bad waxworks model from,
he doesn't look like a waxworks model. He looks more like someone that was left out to die and decided, like, I don't feel like dying anymore, and I'm just gonna walk around in the subways.
His mouth is really awkward as well, and neither of them are making very good expressions. Like, Zack is supposed to be scared, but what he's doing is sort of more along the lines of, can you not?
It's more like mildly annoyed, and he kind of looks like Screech from Saved by the Bell. So this isn't helping my case. It's kind of scary. Yeah. He's got the curly hair, like fro. He's got the cap backwards,
double denim.
He's all denim. What are you talking about?
He's rocking that double denim.
Like if you cut him open, he is pure denim.
And
then in the background,
yeah,
there is like a subway.
Yeah.
The one thing that I thought was cool was the Shadow Zone like logo and how there's like hands coming out of it.
Yeah, I really like that.
So, and besides that, there actually is a pun for this because who knew? J.R. Black decided to put a pun.
Oh,
Next
man.
stop for Zack, Transylvania. Do you want me to read the back?
Yeah, go for it. Read the back.
Warning, this is your last chance to turn back. Thanks, guys, for listening to this wonderful episode of Nightmare on Fear Street. Oh, bye. No.
Bye. We're done.
Too late. You stepped into the Shadow Zone.
Oh, no.
I feel like that's for, like, the off-key Twilight Zone music.
It is. Like, if we could find some, like, stock music that rips off the Twilight Zone music.
The Shadow Zone can be anywhere. Next door, at school, even in your own bedroom. It's the place where the everyday world meets the eerie domain of vampires, werewolves, and ghouls.
Oh, it's the cast of my pilot that I've written.
When Zack Kincaid jumps onto an unmarked New York subway train, all the passengers seem to be even weirder than usual. It doesn't take Zack long time to figure out he's on a train filled with bloodthirsty vampires. They're on the prowl for fresh victims, and Zack maybe the next on the menu.
Dun, dun, dun!
Oh my god. Ugh. So, it seems like this book is for, like, the mom that decided to go to the store, and I'm gonna pick up one of them Goosebumps that Billy likes.
Yeah, it's like the ratatouille of Goosebumps books.
Yes. No, it's more like... Not even ratatouille. It's more like a Cars Life.
Oh my god.
Like that, because it's the same production company. It's that one Brazilian, because they make
Studio
like, Kiara
Brinquedo.
the Brave.
Yeah,
The Ice Queen. I love these because they're just so bad. But
Rat-tat-tat-tat-toing.
What's up? So this is what it feels like. This book just... Meg, take it away.
Okay, so we open up on Zack Kincaid, which is like...
Nope, wrong. His name's not Zack. It's Zatch.
Zatch Bell.
I hate that joke, and there's a reason why I hate the name, like, Zatch. Like, I think a couple episodes ago you were telling me how, like, after watching, like, David Cronenberg's The Fly, the word flesh, like, stopped being a word.
Yep.
This is what it felt like for the name Zack, and actually Zatch and Zachary. For me, after a while, I was like, I think I need to legally change my name.
Yeah, that's like me with Megan, Megan, which is not the way I spell or pronounce my name. But so many people have called me that or spelled my name that way. So I understand how you feel.
Oh, God. So, go on, Meg.
So we open up on Zatch Bell. His real name is Zachary Kincaid, which sounds like he's
It sounds like a podcaster.
Well, he does, but he also sounds like he's some kind of Indiana Jones type wayfaring adventurer. And I may just be thinking that because there is, like, the legend of Kincaid's Cave.
Wait, what is this legend?
Oh, it's this guy in, like, the 20s. He found this cave that supposedly had, like, the remnants of this ancient civilization and all this gold, and nobody's been able to find it since.
Yeah, it sounds like a liar.
Yeah.
So I kind of, like, think of, like, the Goonies, where the guy in the beginning, like, he goes down,
yes.
And he ends up dying, and the kids find him, like, oh, look at all this dynamite.
Yeah.
It's exactly like that.
Yeah. So, Zatch is in class. He's talking to Mick Masterson, a.k.a. the Mixmaster, who is the class bully. And, there's a very strange line in this chapter where he says, Mick was about 2 feet taller than the tallest kid in 6th grade. Okay, so if he's 2 feet taller than the tallest kid in 6th grade, doesn't that make him the tallest kid in 6th grade?
But they're sitting there, and the clock in the, I guess, this regular classroom has stopped. And Zach looks at his watch. Oh, no, okay, there's going to be a drinking game out of this. I'm trying to say Zatch. So he looks down his watch, and it's 3 o'clock. So he's like, no, it isn't 3 o'clock. He's just lying. We're pretty much off to a scumbag. So he's like, teacher, it's 3 o'clock. Let's go. We don't have a bell or anything. Let's go. It's like the equivalent of, like, you have a substitute teacher. Oh, yeah, our teacher totally lets us ditch class 80 minutes early.
The old telling the teacher that the clock stopped. See, my school had old... Actually, wait, no, my primary school didn't. I was going to say my high school had old, like, digital clocks in every room. But, yeah.
We had automated clocks, but they were still analog.
But my primary school had analog clocks. And some of the classrooms didn't even have clocks in them. We just had to go by the bell.
No, it's like the Flintstones they have, like, on their wristwatch.
Oh, man. It's like a little bird that, like, taps out the time and then looks straight into the camera and goes, it's 11.
Yep, exactly. How'd you know? She's that old. She Flintstones it to work because it's their first hybrid cars in the 90s.
Yep, she runs on a little running car with the stone wheels. Okay, and so right from the first chapter, you could tell, like, 2 of the biggest problems with this book. One, Zatch as narrator. This book is written in first person, and Zatch as narrator goes off on tangents so much.
Yeah,
it includes so much useless information.
It's not like it's useless information, it's just a bunch of outdated, rad information.
But there's, like, parts where he will just go off on, like, and we'll go into this later, when all the stuff with the vampire starts happening, he'll just stop, like, and be like, oh, and it sounded just like that time when I was at the thing, and this other stuff happened, you know, like, he'll just go, it reminded me of that guy in, Ant-Man, who tells the really rambling stories.
Oh, actually, okay, this book is probably written by Seth MacFarlane then, because he does the same joke,
man.
where it's like, like this one time, okay, that was pointless, and this other time, it's exactly like it, and except these jokes are more outdated, because my favorite one was him and JT are good best friends. It's weird because I have a good friend named JP.
Oh my god. And your name
This
is
is weird.
Zack. This book is like the alternate universe of your life.
Yeah, except I was in the 90s, and we have a lot of fun watching the Star Wars trilogy.
Yeah, which leads into the second huge problem with this book. It is so, like, we pay out on the Goosebumps books for being really dated in 90s, but for the most part, it's not as bad as this. This is aggressively 90s. People are constantly saying stuff like, here we go, Mick said, I'm sensing a major wimp factor here.
Uncool, bro.
Maximum cool.
I felt like Gabby should have had, like, butterfly-like hair clips, and she, like, throws them like ninja stars.
Yeah, and she should have had, like, the ziggy-zag part in her hair.
And they defeat the vampires with sock poppers.
Oh, man.
And super soakers and Nerf swords.
And space hoppers and those things that are like the rope with the spinning thing and you jump over it.
Oh,
you hook it on one of your ankles and you jump over it. What's that called?
I have no clue. I just remember getting hit in the shin with that thing and I'm like, I'm done. Because that thing's pretty aggressively bad.
Stake the vampires through the heart with a bop it. You remember how the bop it used to be like pole shaped? You could kill a vampire with a sharpened bop it.
You know what I was expecting at this book?
What?
Guys, we gotta go home. We have to watch Are You Afraid of the Dark? It's almost time.
Yeah, Goosebumps is almost on. Oh!
Because then I would have like put this book down and just left the country.
I know. Never reference the competition in your rip-off book.
So, what ends up happening is Zach needs to get to his mom's house because her mom and her dad got a divorce, so she lives in uptown New York.
Would you say that she's an uptown girl?
Yeah, living in a lonely world.
You threw me a curveball there,
took the uptown train, going anywhere.
So he gets on the midnight train going to the Shadow Zone.
Yep, he ends up in the Shadow Zone. Actually, no, he like sits there and all of a sudden he sees a super strange subway car pass by and this man comes out and he's like, I got candy, little boy.
And he throws a rat at him.
He throws candy and he's like, ooh, a piece of candy. And starts walking closer and closer to the tracks. When all of a sudden he gets hit in the back and he realizes the security guard's like, hey, you almost fell in the security tracks, you dumb kid. You shouldn't have been smoking the bath salts.
He didn't mind the gap. He walked right over that yellow line. I don't know if the subways have that. Yeah, I don't know. Do the subways have that yellow line?
I've been on the subway twice in my life. So Zach gets out of a daze and like, I'm going to go uptown. And he does, and he hangs out with his mom. And nothing happens.
Yeah, literally nothing happens.
He decides, I'm going to go back to my dad's house because my weekend's over. And he decides to take the train again because he like pocketed the money that mom gave him for a cab ride that's $10. I don't know, like 1990s inflation money. Yeah. But I don't think $10 would get you across New York.
No,
I'm thinking like Los Angeles.
$10 would get you like 3 blocks down the street in Sydney.
Yeah, I'm like trying to think maybe like 1990s like inflation, but even then it would not get you that far.
I mean, it's New York. New York.
I feel like it's gonna be like Airplane, where the end of the thing, the person's still looking like the ticker's still going on.
Yeah, this book is full of references to New York. I have written in my notes, in case you forgot, this book's set in New York because he's constantly dropping the names of like famous buildings and streets.
Oh yes, it gets super crazy. But so Zach decides to go down to the subway and he gets lost. And he ends up on a new platform. And it's quite old and creepy. And that's when a skeleton pops out.
Literally. And then a skeleton pops out. Literally.
Okay, so we give R.L. Stine like kind of like crud for like doing sudden stops and like cliffhanger endings. Man. No, this is like this entire thing has just been one gigantic like groan of a cliffhanger.
Oh man! At least this book has never. Usually the cliffhanger. I will give this book one thing: the cliffhanger endings actually end up being something in the next chapter. It's never like, oh no, who's behind me? Oh, it's a stick.
Well. It turns out that this guy is just a spooky guy that, I guess he's just a skeleton.
Yeah, he gets better. He unskeletons.
Yeah, like, it's kind of like Pirates of the Caribbean. He gets out of the moonlight.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, there I go. I'm not a zombie pirate anymore.
But you know, his name is Dwayne.
Dwayne the Skeleton Johnson?
Dwayne the Skeleton Johnson. And so after Dwayne, like, is a skeleton and then he gets better from being a skeleton, we meet the main vampire character of this book, whose name is Valentine.
Cutter?
Valentine Cutter, yes, that's right.
I thought it was maybe German, Valentine Cooter.
You said cooter.
I don't know if I'm keeping that in or
no,
not.
No, it doesn't matter. Anyway,
1 second. I'm like a 5-year-old
I
girl
know.
right now.
This is like that dick thing from Body Parts.
Okay, this is funny scooter.
Yeah, anyway, so Valentine leads him to the train, and he gets on the train and sees all these people in old-fashioned clothes, except when he notices the woman, he makes a very strange observation that she is wearing a certain kind of boots, and then he immediately follows up with, those are the fashion these days, or something like a very, like, old man thing to say. Yeah, it just made me think of that joke on The Simpsons where Grandpa's telling that story. He's like, well, we can't beat any heads anymore, but we can tell them rambling stories that go nowhere. For example, one day, I took the ferry down to Shelbyville, which was called Ogdenville at the time, and I had an onion strapped to my belt because that was the fashion of the day, you see.
Oh my god. And then someone's gonna get a paddling after this.
Yeah, someone's gonna get a paddling. Right?
Oh,
right
that's two paddlings.
Right into the shadow zone? That's paddling.
Yeah. No.
And
so while they're on this train, it starts moving, and I feel like it is like this old-timey, like, steampunky type of train.
Well, he describes it as the old kind of train that looks like it belongs in the Transit Museum.
Yeah, it's like a steampunk train.
Yeah, I had no frame of reference for what an old New York subway train looks like, so I was imagining a old, like, those Red Rattler trains that we used to have in Sydney up until, like, the 50s. That's probably what they looked like, I guess. I'll Google it.
So it's like the spooky little train, and as he gets on, he starts realizing everyone's acting super weird. Like, there's one guy reading a newspaper that's dated 1929.
And
there's a hippie guy that's talking about the Rolling Stones.
Yes, and then there's the woman with the boots that were the fashion of the time.
And then there's another girl that, like, talks about nothing but Niagara Falls.
I think that's the same. I think they're the same person, but I couldn't really tell. I can't remember.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
I don't care enough.
No one cares about these side characters.
I don't want to open this book up to find out, because that means I'd have to give credit to opening this book up again.
Before we started this recording, Zach opened up this call with, so, Meg, feel like you've lost IQ points from reading this. And I do. I honestly do.
So as they're going around, he realizes something. They're all 1 second, I can't. Okay, I'm not even. They're vampires.
Oh no.
Oh no, this is bad. Clearly, they're gonna have a dance and blood orgy, but.
Do you know what one of my favorite lines in the book was?
What?
When he says something like, "Oh no, I don't think this train's going to Brooklyn," or like wherever he's going, and Valentine is like, haha, no, this isn't going where you're going. We're not stopping there. And then he's like, oh no, you don't mean this train goes to Queens.
I thought of Spider-Man the second, like, oh no, Spider-Man saved me.
I was thinking of, now this is a real, like, feel free to judge me for breaking this reference, but I don't know why, but the first thing I thought about was the Super Mario Brothers movie.
Oh, that's fine. I actually don't mind that movie.
No, it's not that bad. But they went to, like, it's bad, but it's not that bad, you know, it's like, it's not unwatchable, it's kind of so bad it's good. But when they go to the other universe, and they're looking around, and they're like, maybe this is the Brooklyn of the future, maybe we've gone through a time portal, and then Mario's like, well, maybe this is the Bronx of today.
Okay, if we're going on stupid references, you know who I thought of, the fan cast, Valentine Cutter? Jeremy Irons in Dungeons & Dragons.
Oh my god!
Him as Protheon, that's what I can imagine.
I could see it. Yes, I could definitely see it.
Oh my god. So now that they can't unsee that. All the vampires start to like swarm Zack for some weird reason, and
Because
like
for reasons that are never ever explained in this book, the vampires don't ever leave the train.
yeah, and actually, I guess Zack snags like his pants and he cuts himself.
And the lady vampire
Takes a sip.
book just makes you want to go stranger danger every single page.
So then, like, Valentine's like, he's mine. He's mine. And then right afterwards, after he saves him, the funniest thing happens in this book. Valentine turns to the camera and is like, I remember my vampire teacher. What was his name? Barnabas.
Barnabas. There we go.
Okay, so I have to read this because this is gonna sound fake. I'll never forget the night, he says, his voice dropping to a rhythm that seemed to mimic the train wheels. There's no quotation, so what? Huh? Okay, that's stupid. I felt awake and I slept at the same time. It was... I can't even read this, so...
Oh, this is what I was talking about.
He's like... Yeah, I can't even read this. Like, he doesn't know how to put quotation marks. So I'm like, I don't know when Zack's talking, when like Valentine's explaining, like, yes, there I was, my old master, Barnabas. And he just goes on this rant about how he became a vampire when no one asked him why he became a vampire. And like, I just feel like everyone's just like looking like, where is Valentine looking at? Where's the camera?
Then there's another, but when he says something like, I felt like I was awake and asleep at the same time, just like when I'm in social studies class and my teacher's going on and on. That's exactly what I was talking about. This guy, Zack, goes on so many tangents and puts so much, like, irrelevant information.
Because there's no payoff.
No.
At all.
It's just, one of my favorite things is, okay, I'm going to read this directly. All right?
Okay.
Do not worry, my friend, Valentine said smoothly as he came up to me. He took my arm and steered me down an empty seat at the end of the car. You are under my protection. I am? Why? I noticed that my hands were shaking, so I sat on them. Then my legs started to shake. I mean, why would they listen to you? Who are you? Who are they? They listen to me because I am the first. And it's capitalized. Valentine said. Without me, they would not know the pleasures of the Shadow Zone. The what? The Shadow Zone. And I just imagined, if this was a TV show or a movie, I just imagine when they say the Shadow Zone, they just look directly at the camera. The what? The Shadow Zone.
Do, do, do.
It just made me think of Arrested Development in the episode when Michael's like, the average American man is just trapped in a state of arrested development, and then the narrator goes, hey, that's the name of this show.
You know what happens right after that? He literally rips off the Twilight Zone.
Yeah.
We inhabit this place. It is somewhere between what is real and what is only imagined. And you're lucky you stumbled upon the Shadow Zone. Like off-key Twilight Zone music starts playing.
Yeah. That is so. I didn't think about that.
God, Rod Serling's probably rolling in his grave right now. With a twist. He's not actually dead.
We're all dead, and Rod Serling's the only one who's alive.
When this happens, Zack decides I'm gonna pull the emergency brake, which I don't know why this train has an emergency brake. It just appears, and he pulls it, and the train stops, and he jumps out. Ignores the third rail, and, gets off the train, and nothing happens again for a while.
So, he goes to his dad's house, and he's like, Dad, I had an encounter with this really weird guy who said he was a vampire. And the dad's just like...
He's cooking.
The dad just doesn't care. Like, I feel like if your kid comes home and says, this strange man just, put me into this weird subway car full of people, and then they all told me they were vampires, even if your parents didn't believe you about the vampires, they would think that something sketchy was going on.
Yeah, no, it's like they put me in this train, and this man said that he was the first.
And then a woman licked my leg?
Oh, those kids in them MTVs. I feel like his dad wears almost like Daisy Duke short shorts.
What?
Well, he's just because he is the way to describe him is he's a super deadbeat.
Yeah, he's a painting teacher who enjoys being poor.
Yeah, so he's a hippie. So he he's just like, I guess I can make food with garlic in it, and nothing happens. He just has food with garlic in it.
Yeah. Oh, suspense.
Nothing happens. I was like, oh, he's a vampire now. Nope, that doesn't happen.
When he realizes that he left his bag on the train, and the dad is more upset that he left his expensive bag on the train than he is that his...
No, he was more mad that there was the VHS copy of the vampire movie.
Oh, yeah.
You guys, you're gonna have to pay $1.50 for that a day.
Oh.
Gosh. I don't know why he's Napoleon Dynamite now, but I guess that makes sense.
He does.
Because whatever. So, this book is tearing me apart inside.
It's tearing me apart, Zach.
Afterwards, Zack is just an idiot and decides to go back into the subway again.
Well, first he tries to tell his friends, but his friends don't believe him.
And then he does, yeah, because, like, again, this is like a page of exposition, and then he's like, I'm just gonna go back there with my camera. It's bad in this, just because it's like, I guess I'll look at it with my camera, and he goes down, and then there's just Valentine there again. It's like, oh, I've been expecting you.
Yeah.
And, hey, you want me to take you around? I know that I've tried to, actually, he tells them, Meg, how many vegetarian vampires do you know?
None.
They're all dead, that's why. Because because Zach's an idiot, because he believes that this guy is a vegetarian vampire, but he loves the taste of rats. I'm sorry, but rats are not vegetables.
Yeah, I've never understood that, why people call vampires who only eat animals vegetarian vampires. That's like a thing.
Really? That's a thing? I thought that was a joke.
It's a page on TV tropes. Like, that's...
What?
People use that vegetarian vampire to mean a vampire that feeds on animals, and I've never got that.
I just thought that Zach was just stupid.
Well, maybe Zach is stupid, because this book is older than TV tropes, so...
Okay, whatever. So it's like, I'm gonna take you to some, like, cool, spooky places, like all these secret tunnels underneath New York, which actually exist.
Yeah.
There's the Roosevelt one, because Roosevelt would go to New York, and he had his own subway line.
Yeah.
They had plenty of, like, the Rockefellers had, like, line. It's kind of cool.
Really cool.
That's a whole history. I'm happy they brought that up. But not in this book, because it's miserable, because they beat you over the head with it.
And also, this is the point in the book where I started just yelling, stranger danger.
Yeah, because he's like... He takes him to, like, one, like, not bus stop, but a train stop, and, like, this is where my old house used to be, and I could hear them when they were ripping down the house.
And he says stuff like, no, Zach, you can't bring your friends. This is just for you. And I was like,
And then he's like, I need to ask you a favor. Will you take me outside?
I need to ask you a favor, Valentine. Can you have a seat over there?
No. So, Zach taking pity. I wouldn't take pity on this guy. Takes pity and, like, I'll take you outside.
Why does he need a child to help him get outside? That's what I don't understand about this book.
Okay, because they don't know the difference between night and day, but, if the vampire just decided to eat someone that had a digital watch,
yeah,
I'm pretty sure, like, they would get, like, a sense of, like, oh, this is not busy right now on the train.
What?
Subway.
Don't they have... Okay, so, like, I don't know what it's like in America, but in Sydney and in London... and in Washington, D.C., and in every other city that I have taken a subway train in, there is a clock at the station. That's how you know when the train's coming. So, why don't the vampires just get off at a station, look at the clock, and say, oh, it's 5 p.m. We can go outside now.
Wouldn't they, like, have, like, internal clocks? I guess maybe they might probably get screwed up because I'm putting too much science into this.
I know, it's too much thought into The Shadow Zone Undead Express by J.R. Black.
Okay, so Zach takes him up to the surface world. I feel like I was thinking of, like, the Chuds.
I was imagining Valentine singing Part of Your World. Up where they walk, up where they run.
Can you do it in a vampire voice?
No. I won't subject our listeners to that.
Okay. So they go up. I feel like, actually, no, I take it back. This is like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Yes. They go up. I'm talking about the live action, not CGI one. They go up.
Does Valentine wear like a trench coat and a big hat?
Yeah, exactly. So they go up, and the first thing they see is nothing because they're in the middle of New York in the middle of the night. But, like, Valentine's really surprised that, there's this thing called progress that happens in the world. And he's, like, sees, like, huge buildings, like the Empire State Building.
His mind.
No, he doesn't lose his mind there. He loses his mind when he sees the World Trade Center and just starts screaming randomly.
He knows. J.R. Black knew.
It's an inside vampire job.
Valentine did 9/11.
Vampire blood does melt steel beams.
Oh my god! Golden. This is golden. Vampire blood melts steel beams. My god. This is what this book has done to us.
It's turned us into savages. Okay, so... Yeah, no, like, he just starts screaming randomly for, like minutes. Like, I feel like it was just, like... In Billy and Mandy, where Billy just starts screaming for, like, all day.
Oh, yes.
And he only stops screaming to eat food for, like, a second.
The clown one with, destroy us all! Destroy us all! I'll have the chicken.
Yeah, it's like...
Destroy us all!
And then... They have this cool time where they don't go to any nightclubs. They literally just walk around New York and hope they don't get mugged.
Well, of course they don't go to any nightclubs, because Zack is like 12.
I don't know. Okay. Valentine can, like, use, like, Jedi mind trick. Yes, he is overaged.
Yes, this is an 18-year-old.
So then they find out that one of the other vampires decided to get off the train, finally, and leave to go to the outside world.
Why did they never do this before?
I don't know. They're idiots. Okay, so it's like, we have to go find him. Where would be a place where people could go and hide, and there's a lot of dead people? Like, Zack has to think about it, has exposition, and he's like, oh, a cemetery.
So, this vampire, Sims, the one that comes after him, the bad vampire, he used to be a stockbroker who lost all his money. Yeah, he went, they think he's gonna go to Wall Street and to sell short, and there's a bit where Zack goes, remind me to look up what sell short means later. Why would you include that in the book?
Okay, so they decide to go to the cemetery. You know what the funniest thing, the weirdest Zack parallel for me, does Zack me?
Oh, tell me.
Is the very first person... Okay, so he's like, oh, we're gonna go to Trinity Church, not Trinity Church, but Trinity Savior Graveyard. And the first person he decides to bring up is Alexander Hamilton. Out of everyone in Trinity, he says, oh yeah, Alexander Hamilton's buried here. I'm like, I'm gonna leave now. Bye, guys. Leaving the country. They knew. He knew.
He knows too much.
He knows too much. Of course, that would be the first person I would be like, oh yeah, that's buried there.
You a big fan of Hamilton?
I got my tickets.
I don't know when it's coming to Sydney, but I hope it does someday.
You need to, like, wait in camp for the computer, because I was, like, F5ing it until my keyboard almost broke to get them tickets. Oh, it was amazing. So much money, though, but it was amazing. So, Zack's a nerd, and he was a Hamilton fan before Hamilton was even conceived.
The play, not the man. That's the twist. He's a time traveler.
It makes sense. Lin-Manuel Miranda's actually a vampire.
Oh.
Confirmed. So, they find the guy. They find Sim.
Yeah.
And then, like, Valentine's, like, slaps on the wrist. Hey, be good, and we're gonna go home. And he's just like, okay.
Young man.
Wah, 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 wah.
You are grounded, young man. And he just pulls Sim back into the tunnels by his ear.
And then he gets a paddling.
Yep. Leaving the tunnel, that's paddling.
They never thought of this before, so this is groundbreaking.
It is.
Seeing how, they've been in the tunnels for 90 years and never thought once of leaving.
Yeah.
So then they decided, Zack's like, I'm just out of here. I'm going home. And he goes to his dad's house, and his dad has been up the entire night, worried. Not sick of him. He didn't realize that his son was gone. He was actually just eating breakfast.
So yeah, Zack lied and said he was going to TJ's house, but he forgot to, JT's house, but he forgot to, like, tell JT to lie for him. So they called up JT, and JT was like, no, Zack's not here.
If he wasn't with you, where is he? And then it just cuts
flying the plane.
Then a skeleton popped out. Well, clearly, okay, if he was flying the plane, was the vampire.
Yeah, because vampires did 9/11.
I have, like, a conspiracy board now, and this says Dracula, ?
Yeah.
It's just like a hit list.
We got boxes full of Carol.
So then, the next day at class, Zack tries to pull the same trick like in the beginning with the Flintstone teacher.
Yes.
And she's like, huh, I've upgraded. And she's actually like a Terminator. She pulls out a watch and she's like, you were lying to me.
Oh, no.
That's it. Detention.
So he gets detention. Oh, and also we should mention that they have this project that they have to work on.
Yeah, no, this happens. And it's the stupidest thing because, again, 3 sentences and then it becomes the new plot of the book.
Yeah.
So that happens and he's supposed to be with Gabe. No, is it
Gabe.
They couldn't spell. No, it's Gabby.
Yeah, it's Gabby.
It's a girl.
I get the feeling that it is supposed to be Gabby, but at the same time, in the 90s, there was like this whole thing of girls having boy names for nicknames, like Alec. Like there was the Secret World of Alex Mack. There was Max Remy Super Spy. There was A&D and Monster Blood. So I feel like I couldn't tell if this was just like part of the trend of a girl with a boy name as a nickname, or if they had just misspelled Gabby.
I think they just misspelled Gabby, and there was once, I have to find it again, where they put he. Because the editor wasn't doing the job, so it's a Goosebumps knockoff, whatever.
Just looked at it, and it's like, yep, these words, there's words on this page. Good. A+.
Good.
Great job, guys.
So, it turns out that Gabby's going into the tunnels to find some pictures of the cool places that Zack had told her about. Zack's like, oh no, I need to defeat these vampires. And he suits up. He literally puts on his jean jacket and like puts on like the little like pins, and he grabs his Walkman with, this is the 90s, so he's listening to Nirvana.
Yeah.
This Nirvana music starts playing and he runs down to the subway and he finds, he just finds a train really easily.
Yeah, I know. It always takes him like 2 seconds to find this vampire train, which makes me think, how come no new people have gotten on this train and become vampires?
I don't know. Oh, wait, we forgot the most... Oh, wait, no, wait, we forgot the most important scary part.
Oh, no.
As he comes down the first time, a homeless guy pops out and is like, hey, you got some change?
Oh,
and Zach's
that's
like...
the homeless guy that's his friend.
Yeah, Harvey, the homeless man. It's like, I kind of want to get some egg rolls from Mr. Wong. What is with Goosebumps knockoffs and having, like, low-key racist characters? Yeah. Mr. Wong's in... Okay, so... I feel like I'm gonna have like a brain aneurysm.
Oh, you sound like you're about to.
Because we're not trying. This book is written in a way where things just happen. It's like a drive-by shooting.
That's the perfect description. Plot points just fly at you out of nowhere.
So Harv comes down, asks him for money, and then that's when Zack comes down again because he was getting food from Mr. Wong, and Mr. Wong is literally the way it's spelled. This is really racist.
Yeah.
Because, like, they write it in broken English.
I know.
They write it in broken English. So, that happens. And then he goes down, and he gets on the subway, and there's Harvey.
And he's a vampire.
Like, oh, I'm a vampire now. I'm a vampire now. And he's like, but where's Gabby? And he, like, turns his head, and there's Gabby on the floor, and Valentine's like, I'm gonna turn her into a vampire. I'm still low-key lonely. I do have all my vampire friends here, but if you want her back, you're gonna have to do me a solid. What's that? Well, you see, you need to go into this little station and flip the switch so we can leave New York.
Is that what they were trying to do?
No, I think they were trying to connect the line so they could go to more stations, so they can turn more people into vampires.
Why? Why have they never done this before?
They just didn't know when because they have to get past the grate when they could just wait until, the nighttime and do this themselves.
Okay, and also, biggest plot hole in the whole book, if they were not connected to the main subway tunnels before, how did Zack see them go past when he was at the normal subway station?
I don't know. Vampire magic.
This book makes no sense.
I'm the one having a brain aneurysm right now.
I'm feeling it too.
Like, I feel like it's also like developing into like a tumor, and it's just like pressing against my brain. It's like logic, danger, Will Robertson, danger.
Every like part of this book that I was reading, I was like, just because things just sort of happen out of nowhere in this book, I was just like, is this what it feels like to have a stroke?
It is, because Gabby tells him some weird like number, like telling him about a subway line. And the second Zach's about to flip the switch, he's like, oh, wait, I can just switch the subway line like Gab told me.
Yeah, I can switch it so that the subway goes, like, because it switches to, like, the overground line after that station.
But is there enough sunlight? I'll guess I'll risk it for this one time because, after the day, they'll come right back up there and explode when morning comes.
Yeah.
It happens, and he goes back, and it's like, okay, now give me give me Gab. And Valentine's like, foolish fool, I'm naturally evil. I have this written down. That's what he says. I'm naturally evil. No.
That just, like, the whole rest of the book is just like, you can trust me, Zach. You can trust me, Zach.
I'm so lonely. Help me.
Giving no indication that he was gonna, like, I hate when this happens, when there's a character who just sort of, with no indication that they, like, not even, like, the slightest hint that they're gonna change to being evil. It's just like, I'm evil just cause.
See, this is what I thought Jeremy Irons from Dungeons & Dragons. Like, they decide we're gonna take the grand tour, beep, beep, and they start going. They get faster and faster, and then they get up. And the first thing they see is the stupid sun. And they start like, oh no. And then they all start exploding.
It's great.
It's like, did you ever watch Kingsman?
No.
There's a part in it where people's heads start exploding.
Samuel Jackson hacked all their phones.
Yeah, so their heads start exploding. And it's like that. It was like that glorious of a scene. I'm just like, yes!
I was imagining the end of Welcome to Dead House, but it's on a train.
Vamps on a train?
I've had it with these mother effing vampires on this mother effing train.
I'd actually watch that.
I would definitely watch that.
And all the vampires explode except for Valentine. Because I guess he used their corpses to protect him. That's what he does. And Zach says, what is a 90s one-liner? Don't get sunburnt.
You can't handle the heat. Stay out of the sun. Anyway, this is in my notes, and I forgot to mention it earlier, but Valentine repeatedly uses the phrase, follow the beat of your own blood. I'm sorry, the beat of your own blood? Did you mean to say heart?
No, because he's an idiot.
Blood doesn't beat. The blood just moves around because the heart beats.
Well, I think he clearly had found a copy of the thing, because it pulsates in that.
Oh, yeah.
But whatever, this book ends, and they decide, what if there are more vampires in the subway stations? Because they get out and they see, hey kids, you want some candy?
Yeah.
And they're like, no, we're going to take the bus. And then they get onto a bus filled with vampires.
Oh man, I gotta read the ending of this. I noticed a man standing at the subway entrance. He was dressed in a suit and carrying a briefcase. Excuse me, sir, does this train go to the city? I asked. Yes, it does. It's an express, he said. He smiled at us. His teeth looked a little too long and pointy. And did I smell something rotten? I'll show you to the right platform, he said. Follow me. He went up the stairs. He stopped in the shadows of the landing and looked back down at us. The light of the street lamp hit his dark eyes, making them glitter. Come, he said. I swallowed. Then I turned to Gabe and JT. Bus pass, anyone? I said. Womp, womp, womp.
Okay, this book was awful. Don't read it.
This was the worst. Do not. 0 out of 10. I had no idea what was happening.
I thought of, like, there's only 2 evil people. Ironically, you brought up a joke, was that there's only 2 evil people, like, who have the biggest egos to, like, write this book, because this is under a pen name. It's either between Stephanie Meyer or Neil Breen, but Neil Breen would actually write his name. He'd be the character in this book, so it has to be Stephanie Meyer.
Yeah, except,
because Neil Breen would at least write his name. Like, he's like, oh, yeah.
Neil Breen would have included more laptops.
I hacked into the Vampire Network.
He hacked the vampires and made them die.
With anthrax?
Yeah, with anthrax.
Or Vamthrax?
Vamthrax! I was just about to say that.
I'm gold tonight.
Anyway, yeah, we were on fire today.
These vampires are on fire, so I'm happy.
Okay.
Because these are the stupidest vampires They're the stupidest.
They are. Like, just get off the train. Just get off the bloody train and look at a clock.
No, we've been here for like 90 years. Stop, please.
We didn't mention, the thing that really threw me about this book was the tangent about the dog.
Oh, you mean the one about Algernon? Algernon, you know the funny thing is they killed, because Algernon is the name of a horror author?
Yeah.
And you killed a horror.
Algernon
that guy has the cool. Algernon Blackwood.
Yeah.
That is the coolest horror name in existence.
Best name.
I'm sorry.
Like, if you have that name, you have to become a horror writer.
Or a vampire.
Or a necromancer of some sort. Or possibly a teacher at Hogwarts.
Defense against the dark arts, preferably. Yeah, they talk about Algernon and how the reason why they want to save Gabby is because they told her that her dog died in its sleep, even though when they were watching the dog. He got hit by a car and exploded.
Yeah, so the dog gets hit by a car, and they run over, and the dog is dies slowly in their arms. And the description of it was absolutely horrifying, because it was its eyes were bleeding. It's gonna be broken up everywhere. All the bones are gonna be broken and stuff. And you can't just say, "Oh yeah, your dog died in its sleep." It was Freddy Krueger ran him over with his car while he was sleeping in his dream.
Stop it, Meg. Stop it. This book's already dead.
Anyway.
This book needs an exorcism.
It does. We need to call John Constantine up in this bitch.
The power of Zack compels you.
I'm making the sign of the cross. You can't see it, but I'm making the sign of the cross with some pens.
I don't know if they heard that, but I just threw this book across the room.
I definitely heard it.
Oh, wait. Oh, it went through my window. Oh, look, it's sunlight. Oh, the book burst into flames.
Didn't you tell me there's a movie based on this book?
Oh, fudge. Yeah, there's a book. There's a movie based off.
You tried to forget, but I reminded you. No. And are we gonna watch this movie?
If I can find it, and you can find it, yes, we will watch it, and we're going to review this, and I'm going to be heavily liquored up when I watch this.
We might make this one a special bonus episode.
Yes. Or we'll figure it out, but it most likely will be a bonus episode where we get plastered and we figure out our existence.
Yeah, we completely rethink our lives, because if this book was anything to go by. And you said it was a made-for-TV movie, too, so already...
It has the Zack is played by, I think, the main star from The Sandlot.
Oh, man. And that's very funny, because one of the other kids from The Sandlot played a vampire on The X-Files.
It's just vampire curse, and whatever. This book, the evil of this book has been purged.
Yep.
So it doesn't exist anymore. It's gone into the Shadow Zone.
And,
I've just banished it to the Shadow Realm as well.
Yes.
It's past the Shadow Zone.
Yes. Trap card.
The trap hole. No, bottomless trap hole, so it's removed from play. What are we reading next?
Next week, you and I are going on a special super duper trip to Egypt to read Curse of the Mummy's Tomb by R.L. Stein.
Do we also get to play a children's card game invented by the ancient Egyptians?
Yes, we definitely get to find a children's card game in the pyramids.
Oh, thank God. I hope I find a Millennium Puzzle.
I hope I find Exodia, the Forbidden One.
Oh, yeah. Yes, we need that in our lives.
We do.
So, great news, guys. We actually started a Patreon.
Ooh, yes.
So, if you want to donate to the show, simple dollars a day, you can feed a starving podcaster.
I used that joke on my show. How dare you?
Wait, you used that joke at your show?
I used that joke when I announced that I had a Patreon for Trivial Terror.
I didn't even.
Oh, it's okay.
No,
it's okay.
I'm not low key. I'm just joking.
It's an obvious joke to make, honestly.
In the arms of a podcaster. So we're just gonna have sad pictures of us. So if you actually donate to us, even the most you can donate is $25. That's just to pay for everything, but for literally $1 you're gonna get bonus content. We're gonna do Q&A stuff. For $5 we're gonna have some super polls, so if you guys want to pick our books for us instead of the Shadow Zone, you guys can totally go for it. And for $25 you can pick our entire lineup for the month, as well as being on our show. And we'll also have spooky scary books for you, as well as Goosebumps paraphernalia.
Yeah.
It's a pretty good deal for any of them.
I want to support myself on Patreon. I want to support me and you on Patreon, because these rewards sound great.
Oh, Meg, we got a new iTunes review.
Oh, good.
So we got the best iTunes review this week, Meg.
What is it?
Have you read it yet?
No, I haven't.
So from Pretty Spoopy, or Snoopy, I don't know how to spell that. So the tagline is, "The perfect podcast, ? And in the description it just says, yes.
That is a very succinct and good review. And I review that review by saying 10 out of 10, very good review.
So thank you, Pretty Snoopy. You are amazing. Actually, we're going to start doing prizes.
Yay!
Thank you brought that up, Meg. So we have a bunch of Goosebumps books that we end up buying. So, one thing that we are going to be doing both with our Patreon, but both with listener questions and reviews, is you guys will be entered in a chance to win spooky gift boxes. Or, I guess, ghoul boxes. I don't know, misfortune care packages? I don't know, we haven't figured out the name yet.
The mystery box.
Except there won't be teddy bears in this one. It won't disappear. So, guys, if you guys just leave us little messages, little reviews, or any of that stuff, you are entered in a chance to win every month a little care package, and we'll give it out, as well as a light shout out for the show.
Amazing.
Unfortunately, I don't know how. For us, I'll be doing the United States side. I don't know, Meg, if you want to do the.
I am more than willing to send something to our listener in Geelong, Victoria.
That's fine. If you want to send it to Victoria.
Yeah, and I'll any of the.
It's Lee Striker.
Yeah, so you can handle all of our listeners in the U.S., Canada sort of area. I will take care of the Australia, Asia sort of region. That's
good.
Yeah.
So yeah, guys, that's what's happening.
Right.
Meg, where can they find you?
You can find me on Twitter. I'm at Meg Tuten. That's at MEGTUTEN. You can also find me at sodasodabanana.tumblr.com. And you can listen to my other podcast, the Trivial Terror Podcast, on Podbean, iTunes, and at Trivial Terror on Twitter.
You can find me at Suda41 if you want to follow our show. That's at Night Fear Street. Or if you want to email the show, that would be at nightmareandfearstreet@gmail.com. Or if you want to find any of our exciting new content, you can follow our Patreon at patreon.com/Nightmare on Fear Street. Or if you want to look at our web zone, that's ghoulishfancies.com. Meg, any advice on avoiding the stupid vampires?
Mind the gap. And don't forget to tap off your Europa card. Or whatever the New York equivalent of that is.
Don't read this book.
Don't read this book, definitely. No, that's like the best advice that we can give you this week.
I'm Zach.
And I'm Meg.
And stay spooky. Bye.
All right, sounds good.